My Hexen-fueled Nightmare. Yo, what's up? It's someone that's no one, and welcome back to today's report. Today's report was sent in by the K channel, where he took Hexen, otherwise known as E-ethylhexedrone, A-PHP, Nyquil, alcohol, and Alprazolam. And here's the full report details. Alright, welcome to another RC stimulant report. This time we got a couple new substances with A-PHP and Hexen, which I would say these two are somewhat fairly known in the research chemical market, but as substances overall, I would say they're definitely much lesser known. Both are cathinones and have been grouped together at points with things like bath salts and comparing it to more known substances like flakka, or the zombie drug. The effects are said to be somewhat comparable to something like that of crack cocaine and or meth. And in this report, there is some pretty heavy abuse described that leads to a state of stimulant psychosis. But I'm always happy to talk about a new substance, two at that, and this is a pretty banger report, and I'm sure you guys will enjoy this. So without further ado, let's dive right into this. I'm going to format this the best way that I can. I'm not the best storyteller, but I will try to tell this story in a way that is both entertaining and informative. As I write this, I feel much of the anxiety and dread I felt towards the end, but I feel that it might help some people. A little bit of my backstory. I started reading up on research chemicals in June of 2017. I was fresh out of college with a bleak job outlook and time to kill. In college, I'd used plenty of cocaine, MDMA, and Adderall to fuel my parties. Now that I was out of college, there were a lot less parties and a lot more bills to pay. I initially looked into research chemicals for psychedelic RCs, but alas, I stumbled upon the demon that is H-PHP. At first, H-PHP was great. I snorted it, which burnt like shit. But whoa man, that euphoria is something else. I remember my first line, which I eyeballed after weighing out all the stuff out. There was that slow come up with the eventual peak euphoria that made me almost nod off. And then came the residual stimulation. And then came the come down, something that I had never experienced before in my life. With coke, you do a line, wait 30 minutes, and then you're like, damn, I would really enjoy another line. With H-PHP, it's like, holy fuck, this come down is awful. I need to do another line just to feel fucking normal. Eventually, I went to the drugstore at 8 a.m. the next day and chugged some Nyquil. Needless to say, I learned quick why you're not supposed to mix stims with diphenhydramine. I learned real quick that when I do H-PHP, especially when vaping, I need benzos if I'm ever going to stop redosing. And the next few months went along just fine. I would binge H-PHP for about 8 hours, pop a benzo, maybe drink some alcohol, and boom, lights out, ready to go the next day. However, as time went on, money started becoming more and more tight. I started having more H-PHP on my hands than benzos. 6 months into doing H-PHP a few times every other week, I thought I finally had the experience to handle the come down and convinced myself to stop redosing. Boy was I wrong. Next thing I knew, I was staying out 3 days at a time, vaping H-PHP non-stop. Here's the kicker. At first, I could handle it. By day 3, I typically was so exhausted that I would chug alcohol and pass out for 16 hours. On day 3, I would experience minor visual hallucinations, tracers, and the like. Occasionally shadow people, but nothing menacing or that would convince me something was actually wrong. I would wake up, go to work with nothing to complain about except some residual anxiety and having a potato for a brain. I would give myself a week to 2 weeks off, rinse, then repeat. I was almost having fun with it, seeing how far I could push myself mentally before I would crack, and chug alcohol or purchase Xanax at 6 a.m. It was all good, but then things started to change. I would vape H-PHP just as I normally did. Not a massive dose or anything, nothing more than 25 milligrams at a time. I noticed after only binging for about 12 hours straight, my mind started breaking down. I was not only scatterbrained, but I couldn't even fucking think. All that was there was anxiety and this, fuck me, why did I do this again? I'm such a fuck up. How will I ever return to normal life? Fuck me! But yeah, I continued. I thought if I took consistent 2-week breaks, that things would mellow out. Cue my first night, a true psychosis. I began smoking around 1 p.m. and kept vaping until about 4:30 a.m. I convinced myself to stop vaping, and I remember just sitting there in my bed with most of the lights off, just trying to get to sleep at 6 a.m. And that's when the footsteps started. Now, earlier that week, there was a breaking and entering that led to someone being shot a few blocks away from my house. I started hearing right outside my window sticks breaking, like someone was going through the alley next door and stepping on twigs as they walked. This would happen every few minutes or so until I started hearing running, like someone running back and forth next to my window every few minutes. I entered what I like to call psychosis paralysis. I was so paranoid that I was paralyzed by fear. I remember just fucking standing there next to my door waiting for the next noise to happen. I was prepared to run downstairs and alert my roommates if anyone tried entering my window. Cue the shadow person. I have a blanket covering my window that acts as a curtain. With all my lights off except for my TV, I see this shadow person trying to silently unlock my window from the other side of the curtain. Fuck this shit, I said, and busted out of my room and walked towards the bathroom. From here on, I will be telling my story as a flow of thoughts because that's the best way to convey what was going on mentally. Was that the sliding door I just heard open downstairs? They're in my fucking house. I get in the bathroom, lock the door, and stand there, paralyzed and listening. I hear footsteps downstairs. Next thing I know, I see my door handle jiggling. They're trying to get in. My bathroom door has a little twisty lock thingy, so I grabbed it and held on tightly. Holy shit, the guy was trying to fucking twist the lock open from the outside. I could feel this guy trying to break my grip on the lock. Eventually, he gave up, I suppose. I sit down and pull out my phone. Should I call the cops? I don't want to make any noises. Then I get 2 phone calls from random numbers. Holy shit, this is some strangers type shit. They're calling me to taunt me. I look up at the door and the lock is somehow unlocked. I quickly lock it again and sit down. Fuck it, I'm calling the police. I call the cops once. It rings a few times. Then this loud buzzing noise happens. Holy fuck, they're jamming my phone from the outside. These guys don't fuck around. Now I start thinking about how I'm gonna pop out of the bathroom and rush them. I call the cops again. Same buzzing noise. One more time. Finally, an answer. I whimper out my address and hang up. Through this whole escapade, I guess I was banging the bathroom door, which woke up my roommate who came to check on me. Sorry mate, can't trust you. You could be one of them. By the way, I called the cops. Long story short, cops show up and I finally leave the bathroom. They don't even search around our house for a culprit. They immediately come upstairs and start searching my room for paraphernalia. They think I'm on Molly because I keep gurning. No sir, it's just something I do when I think I'm about to get fucking murdered. Get to sleep kid, they say, and they leave. My roommates never looked at me the same after that. A little bit of backstory before I move on. I am talking way backstory. Back to when I was a kid. Both my mom and dad were narcissistic assholes who hated each other, but thought that bringing 3 kids into the world was a good idea. They got divorced when I was in the 6th grade. My mom was caught with some sort of drug abuse, and my dad got full custody for a few years. Flash forward a few years, and my mom finally has equal custody with my dad. Good, she's clean, we thought. Then one day after school, I get the call. You need to come home right now. Get home, my dad bursts in and straight up drops it on us. Your mother shot herself and took her own life. My mother had been seeing a psychologist and suddenly stopped showing up that week, which convinced her to call the cops for a wellness check. Turns out that my mother had been abusing speed for a while, what I assumed to be methamphetamine. During the last week of her life, she kept thinking people were breaking into her house and rearranging things, even watching her. She eventually shot herself in the head in her bedroom. Flash forward back to the present. I've been doing A-PHP for about 8 months on and off. Because of money, I finally take a break from this stuff because I simply can't afford it. I had to take a break here while writing this story. It seems that writing about the psychosis starts to trigger some mild psychosis. Kept hearing noises and thinking someone was spying on me. Still have occasional bouts of this from time to time. Doesn't help that I have huge fucking windows in my bedroom. Need to buy some curtains. Flash forward to say 1 month ago. I was struggling to find some A-PHP. I initially had this big interest in hexen when I first entered the RC scene, but it was easier to find A-PHP, and so that was my first RC stim. Without being able to find A-PHP, I looked to the almighty hexen. Reports said it's not quite as intense as A-PHP, and the countdown is not that bad either. Sounds perfect, right? The perfect party drug. Boy, was I wrong. So I ordered the hexen. Shows up in about 3 days. What I got was this super clumpy white powder with not much of a smell. I got home from work. It was like a Tuesday, and told myself I would just do a tiny line. I weighed out a 40 milligram line. Since I had experience with A-PHP, I thought why not do a strong dose of hexen to get things going. Boy, was this shit clumpy, and boy was it hard to even break up a good line without it sticking to everything it touched. I eventually salvage as much of the 40 milligrams as I can into a small line. Snort it. Nothing except this strong burner. A few minutes later, I feel some stimulation. A few minutes after that, there's the dopamine. I wanked it like it was my last day on Earth. After I wanked it, I thought, I might as well see what it's like vaped. Flash forward 8 hours, and my dick is literally raw from wanking it. And I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, I'm gonna have to call in sick to work tomorrow. It was around this time that I noticed I wasn't even really feeling good anymore. A-PHP, even after you have binged it, still gave you that rush, but with diminishing returns. With hexen, it was, oh god, I fucking hate this countdown. Just make me feel normal again. Safe to say that I did not get any sleep that night. I kept vaping and snorting until the early morning. So I've been pretty much doing the hexen for about 12 hours. I am guessing I had gone through about 1 gram at that time. This is where things start to get wonky. Remember those footsteps I heard outside previously on A-PHP? They were back again. It was at this point that my paranoia skyrocketed. What if these people see me doing hexen? Are they trying to catch me? Will they call the cops? I was not only taking hits in the corner of my room, under my bed, in my closet. I nailed a blanket over one of the windows to serve as a curtain, but there were still 2 small windows facing the roof of my house. Like I said, at this point I was just vaping the hexen to get rid of the anxiety, which at this point meant spending 3 to 4 hours being scared to take a hit and sneaking a hit in undercover. So the house next to mine is currently empty. I'm guessing the owner is renovating it until he found some renters. This house is like a mirror image of my house. Same designers, I suppose. So finally, I'm tired of hiding from all these footsteps outside and decide to just take rips in front of my covered window. Eventually, curiosity gets the best of me, and I was like, who the fuck is making all this noise outside? I push away the curtain and look outside. Camera shutter noise. Holy shit, that's all the evidence we need, right? I hear coming from the window across from me. I look closely, and holy shit. I see 2 older guys and a female, each with a camera pointed at me. Holy fuck, what the fuck is going on? I think to myself. I quickly hide all my shit. I put my pipe underneath all my old supplements in this box. I hide my scale. I grab my bag of hexen and bust out of my room and into the bathroom. I sit down on the toilet and listen. Suspect entered the bathroom. I hear another voice. Toilet block and shower box ready. Shit, I thought to myself. I can't even flush the shit now. I am so fucked. I eventually stand up and dump all the hexen left into a cup and mix in soap, water, hair gel, literally any product within arm's reach to try and dilute the hexen. Then I dumped it down the sink. Sample collected. We got it. I hear as the hexen goes down the sink. Keep in mind, I've never even tried to sell a drug in my entire life. I sit in the bathroom for 15 minutes thinking, holy fuck, they got me. What did I do to get this much heat? I eventually say fuck it. They got me, so I might as well go chill in the hallway. I then hear my roommates downstairs talking. Roommate 1. So is it true? Anon is a drug dealer? Roommate 2. Yeah, and apparently I'm the prime suspect. Roommate 1. So how did you get him? Keep in mind my roommates had some people visiting from out of town that day. In the middle of the week. What the fuck? Roommate 2. Yeah, so the agents came in and acted like they were our friends from out of town. They also acted like workers and used the house next door to catch them. Damn, I thought to myself. They fucking got me, clever bastards. And so I sat there. I hadn't done hexen in like an hour. I was so cold. My legs had purple veins coursing through them, and my hands were super white. Not to mention my dick was the size of a fucking acorn. Gotta take a break for now. I'll post the rest tomorrow.